What's going on, guys? It has been quite some time that I've recorded a podcast, and I've really wanted to record a podcast for so long. But the time was just not right, I think. A lot has changed within the last, 2 years? I think I started the podcast 2 years ago. I have been recording. I've been a co-host for the HD A Culture Kid podcast. I've been a rotating co-host for that podcast for over a year now, I'd say. So it's not that I haven't been podcasting, it's that I've been ducking you guys. But I think it's only right. So much has changed over the last 2 years, I want to say, with regards to what I've been doing, with regards to just life in general. And so let's start there with this podcast, because I feel like that's the best place to start right now. So I no longer live in California. So 6 months ago, I moved out of California, and that's probably been the biggest change that has taken place. Last year we're still dealing with the pandemic that's been going on with coronavirus and COVID, and so that definitely changed a lot of different things. And I was meaning to do and record a podcast over this past year. Just to kind of just talk about things, just to kind of continue the theme of create as prescribed, but I don't think I was in the right place, as I mentioned earlier. But things were good. I mean, last year I probably physically was probably in one of the, I won't say the best shape. Endurance wise, I was in the best shape. I ran 2 half marathons. That's probably the most running I've ever done in my life, and I got my mile time down to 7:30, which is the fastest mile I've ever ran in my life. But I wasn't creating, and that was something that I really missed, and that was something that while the pandemic was going on, and while I fortunately I'm grateful that I have the job that I have, but while the pandemic was taking place, I didn't have that opportunity to really create like I did. Before things hit with the pandemic, I was working with this agency out in San Francisco, or based in San Francisco, that would connect me with different clients and stuff, and I would do photography and whatnot for them. Prior to that, I was working with my gym, my home gym, or the gym that I was going to, the CrossFit gym. I was doing a lot of creative content for them. Things changed, things fell out, and maybe I'll have a podcast episode for that down the road. And I got into this place where I really wasn't doing much of anything. And I really wasn't being that person that I knew that I was deep down inside, that I wanted to be. But during that time, I ended up, getting into music and just diving deep into music, and I'm still learning a lot about music. I've been DJing now for at least, I would say, a year and a half now, learning how to DJ, and putting out sets and things of that nature. And that's been something as more from a personal creative standpoint that has been therapeutic for me. It's something that allows me to get in my emotions, get in my feels. And I would say that's another thing that's changed a lot, is just being much more open emotionally with regards to who it is that I am, because that's really important. But yeah, I just started DJing and getting into music, and that really has allowed me to be more of myself as I spend time listening to music and finding new music and crate digging and getting into vinyl. You can see, if you're watching the audio version of this, you could see I behind all those boxes, which I'll talk about in a bit, but I have a record player and collecting records, listening to old hip hop, A Tribe Called Quest, MF Doom, all these different groups that, growing up, my brothers were into, and I never really got into. But now that I get older, it's stuff that reminds me of my brothers, and stuff that, reminds me of being in the Bay Area. And so, after things took place with the Bay, were taking place, with the pandemic and whatnot. Basically, TLDR here is that I came across an ad on Instagram for, Tulsa remote work program. And at the time, for me, it was just kind of like, why not? Why not see what happens? I don't know what the world is going to look like in 6 months, but what do I have to lose? And I applied for the program, got accepted. And 6 months later, I ended up moving out to Oklahoma. So I've been here for about 5-6 months now. Very different, very affordable. But I've gotten to a place now where I'm ready to get back into being myself, ready to get back into being creative. And I feel like I had to sit with myself for a little while. I had to really, I don't know, I guess I had to have those things in my life removed in order to realize how important those things were to my personality and to who it was that makes me. I remember going through therapy the first time I started meeting with a therapist, and that was one of the things that we talked about was like, what are those things in life that just allow you to just be you, just allow you to, that you can enjoy. And I feel like this past year, that's where I'm kind of letting myself gravitate towards those things. I'm letting myself get away from these preconceived notions and thoughts that I had previously about myself and, my fear of other people. Now that I'm in a place where I don't know anybody. And so that's where we're at right now. That's what we're experiencing right now is we are experiencing life in a different state, in a different place, away from everything that it is that I know. So it's kind of like it's kind of like last year where, I'm having to figure out what normal is like now, because normal is not the way that it was before with regards to my job. Well, yeah, with my job, I work from home all the time now, but being in a state where I don't know anything, like laws are different, people are different, life is just generally different. But at the same time, again, I feel like it's good for me. I feel like it's allowing me to grow and get back into my first loves, my first, my passions again. I mentioned, if you're watching the audio version of this, but I mentioned the boxes that I have behind me, and that's something that I've been doing is collecting boxes now. Collecting shoes and not so much collecting shoes, but starting a new business, which has been very, very interesting. Back in college, I had a business. I actually don't even really tell people a lot about this, but some people know. It's people that are closer to me that I'm willing to reveal things to. And now you guys are close to me, and I'm revealing things to you. But back in college, I started a business, and that business was basically drop shipping. And I grew this business. I was making, I don't even remember how much I was making, but I was making a lot for a college student to be able to at least make ends meet. And it was cool because at a certain point I had, people that I was sponsoring through this business. I had people reaching out, asking me to be sponsored athletes. And it's funny because it's like some of these individuals that I quote unquote sponsored, very poorly, I might add. But some of these people that I ended up sponsoring ended up going in and competing at the CrossFit Games and teams and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's kind of cool because on one hand, I feel like I was almost like a first to market kind of guy, but even though I really wasn't. But it's also like a past life. But I started that business, ran it for a little while, and ended up getting involved into other things and ended up shutting it down. But over the past year, I just kind of decided that I was going to get back into that. And I haven't really spoken about it too much just because a lot of it, I don't want it to get to the point where I talk so much about it and don't end up doing those things, because that's a big fear of mine is getting so caught up with the idea of it as opposed to actually executing on those things. So I've been working on this, I would say, for about a year and a half now. And 3 months ago, I finally filed the paperwork to make this thing official and really put my time and put my research. I've already put enough money into this, but really put my all into this as something that I am passionate about, and it's something that I enjoy, and it's something that brings me back to, when I was a kid skateboarding, because that's another thing, right? I've skated for, I don't know, 20 years, I guess now you could say, which is really weird to say, but not so crazy as I was when I was a kid, but I remember always flipping through like CCS magazines and scrolling the internet looking for different shoes and products that that really spoke to me as far as like my skate style. Going to the Copeland's, we would go to Copeland's and you could get what was it? Was it like two for $50, I think it was, or something like that, off their shoe rack. And we would buy like DVS shoes and stuff like that, all these different shoes. But it was always, I always loved sneakers. I always loved shoes, and I always loved the stories behind those. I remember there's one time where my brother took me, I can't remember the exact model, but it was a pair of Etnies. It was a collab that they did, I think, with like some graffiti artist or something like that. And this was, I don't know, I was probably like 14 or 15 or something like that. And those really spoke to me. Like, those stuck out. And my brother was like, hey, get what you want or whatever. Those stuck out to me as like, that's what I want to rock on my feet. I remember the first dunks that I got that I inherited from my brother. All these different things. And, I say that, being in a different place has been really fundamental for me the last, I would say, 2 years, because I feel like it's allowed me to, I don't know if it's being by myself or being in a different place, but changing my state, I would say, is maybe the phrase. Change of pace, maybe, is the phrase. Has really changed my life, I'll say. It's really put me in a position to really think about who it is that I am and think about who it is that I want to be, and take the necessary steps and take the action that's needed in order to do those things. And not really getting so caught up anymore about the perfection of things, but just doing things and figuring it out along the way. Granted, that's not always the greatest when it comes to doing things, but I feel like a lot of the times, and this is maybe a different rabbit trail, but a lot of the times, we get so caught up with not doing things because of the barriers to entry. And I guess as I've been by myself, and as I've spent this time figuring things out, it's just been what's the next step that I need to do in order to make progress. And I've just left it at that. Everything from, as I'm selling things, looking at different platforms that I sell on. One of the things more recently was, just, okay, let me challenge myself, and I'm going to list, instead of doing, every couple of days list something, every single day I'm going to list something, in my store, and put something in my store, and have that set up so it connects to my eBay store and whatnot. And committing myself to doing that at the least, and seeing the benefits of that, and seeing how that gains traction, and seeing how that, just the simple act of doing that and committing to that, and that alone has been super helpful, because it's I feel like I'm accomplishing things. And so not only am I able to be creative, and jump back into those creative pursuits, and those things that I love so much, but I feel like I'm accomplishing things, and I feel like I'm just in, I guess, maybe the place that I need to be. And, where it is that I'm right now is just, I'm not complaining about anything. I'm taking it one step at a time. I'm figuring things out, and, I'm just living life. I'm living life. And I hope that you guys are doing that too. So yeah, so I've moved. I'm no longer in California. I'm in Oklahoma now, Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is a really interesting place, to say the least. There's just so much history. You see it when you go downtown. You see remnants of things that were from, years and years and years ago. Some of the architectures of the buildings. I've spent some time going on like architecture tours and stuff like that, and that's been really fun. But yeah, there's just so many things that I actually, to be quite honest, I actually kind of enjoy. It's a little bit of a slower pace of life, which is kind of kills me at times, and it takes some getting used to. But it's, I will say that for the most part, my light's going out right now. Oh, no, it's not. I will say that, it definitely takes some getting used to living out here. But again, I think it's, oh, shoot. My MacBook Pro is going off. It's good to challenge yourself, and it's good to, put yourself in a different place to experience something different. So definitely experiencing a lot of different things out here. I'm living downtown or close to downtown, which I've never done before. If you're from California, you know how expensive it is to live in places like downtown Oakland or downtown San Francisco. I lived in San Jose before I moved here, which was a little bit more affordable where I lived. But it's, it is what it is. But I really enjoy it here now. It's really, it's different. But again, like I said, I enjoy it. And work is crazy as hell, dealing with my day job and all that entails. And so, a lot of the times I think it's, I laugh because it's like, I told somebody this the other day where I mentioned that I enjoy the complications of life. And I think the reason why is just the stories and the journey that it takes you on, because you never know where life is going to take you next, right? Like, I decided that I was going to work from home permanently, and now I'm in Oklahoma. Who would have thought that would have been a thing? I've never lived outside of California before. And so if you're listening, I want to challenge you, challenge yourself to get in a different state, get in a different place, live and do those things that you want to do. You only have one life, and it's up to you to write those stories. And so, if you want to experience something and you want to change things up, by all means, please do it, because you're only going to get one life. You're only going to get one try at figuring things out. And it's okay if you start something and maybe you don't enjoy it anymore. That's perfectly fine. I feel like that's happened to me quite a bit. And, it's okay if you find something that you like and you no longer like the other thing that you liked, and go down that path as well. Like, that's okay. This is your life. You get to write the rules. You get to write the story. You get to write this book that somebody else will at some point, look back on. And so, yeah, I think this is, I just want to give you guys an update as I ramble. But I just want to give you guys an update with regards to, what's going on. Definitely, I think I'm going to start this. We're going to resurrect the podcast again. Definitely going to be going the same route, same ideas, same themes. I think, moving here to Tulsa, I've realized, or I've seen so many different interesting and creative people. And as much as I enjoy fitness, and I don't think I'll ever stop enjoying fitness, I think it's just something that's always going to be there in my life. My interests are changing. My interests have expanded, and I want to have those conversations with other people, not just people in the fitness world. So look out for new episodes to be coming. Got a whole lot of stuff that I'm going to put together for you guys. I'm going to take a different approach here. Going to be a little bit more methodical about how I tackle this, because I want this to be as high quality for you guys as possible. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it for this episode. This is the intro, just a little teaser, a little taste of what's to come. I'm really excited again as I'm getting back into these creative pursuits, and you know, I just really I hope you guys see the vision as I put stuff out, and I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope it inspires you guys. I still want to inspire other people to, you know, to do things, and so I hope these conversations and these talks that I have with you guys via podcast depict that, and you guys see that, and you guys feel motivated and inspired, not by me, because I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just talking in a microphone or creating these conversations. But I hope that you guys have that passion to, you know, move past those feelings that you might have with regards to feeling scared to start something, or feeling scared to do something, or worried about other people's opinions, and just do it. Just live your life. So with that, guys, I'll give you guys the usual sign off. May your barbells be heavy and your coffee be black. This is David, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode, but we'll figure out a new sign off, something that is more all encompassing. So it's not just fitness people that are enjoying this, but everybody enjoys this. So with that, guys, I will catch you guys in the next episode. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Drink your coffee, drink your athletic greens, your wheatgrass, drink water, eat, take care of yourself. And I'll catch you guys later.